I want you to pause and I want you to reflect on how many politicians, Democrat and Republican, who lined up behind a group of communist, violent scumbags in the wake of St. George Floyd's death, because they own a lot of this. I want you to pause for just a moment, and I want you to think about every Republican who got up and decided that it was time to change the name of military bases because Black Lives Matter was busy looting Foot Lockers in cities across the United States of America. I want you to remember the leaders of this country are at best useless and at worst openly hostile to all of us. How hostile are they? Well, how long have you, an American citizen, screamed about the massive bills that pass through Congress? I know you have. We all have. You can't just have a simple bill on one subject. Why do we always have to throw 10,000 different things in the bill? And we all know why. They throw all the extra crap into the bill to try to force people to pass it so they can get more handouts and more stuff for their district. It's just an effort of legalized government corruption. That's all it is. So we never get that single issue bill. It never happens. Oh, never mind. I didn't mean to say never. I mean, it happens if you're sending $40 billion to Ukraine. That's when it happens. And again, I don't want to make it sound like this $40 billion is going to women and children, refugees. That would be one thing to discuss. So much of this stuff is unaccountable State Department filth they're going to use for who knows what. If you're going to steal $40 billion of my money and send it overseas, I think me as a taxpayer, I think I do deserve to know where the money's going, don't you? If you'd like to know who actually stood on your side in the United States Senate, there were only 11 of them. Their names are Marsha Blackburn, John Bozeman, Mike Braun, Mike Crapo, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Mike Lee, Elaine Loomis, Roger Marshall, Rand Paul, surprise, surprise, and Tommy Tuberville on there. Did you hear your senator on there? Probably not. And so what justification do they have for, again, $40 billion with no accountability when Americans are hurting at the pump, hurting with inflation, baby formula, you name it. What's the justification for it? Well, they'll probably use things like General Barry McCaffrey, retired 4-star general who put out a video online of a video game, and this general thought it was actually Ukrainian missiles shooting down Russian MiGs. Would you like to know the percentage of Americans that are currently beating the cost of living increases that come with inflation? I mean, we did just send $40 billion to the State Department for them to use as a slush fund. Would you like to know how Americans are doing? 6% of Americans, according to a new poll from NBC, 6% say they're actually beating the cost of living. 65 say they're falling behind. 65% of the United States of America is behind. They're not making it. And let's not act like prices right now are stagnant and we've reached some low, or I guess high, I should say. They're going to keep going up and already 2/3 of us are behind. And what's your White House plan to tackle this? Well, here it is.
How does raising taxes on corporations lower the cost of gas, the cost of a used car, the cost of food for everyday Americans?
So look, I think we encourage those who have done very well, right? Especially those who care about climate change, to support a fair tax code that doesn't charge manufacturers, workers, cops, builders a higher percentage of their earnings, that the most fortunate people in our nation, and not let that stand in the way of reducing energy costs and fighting this existential problem, if you think about that as an example.
What? You're probably sitting there saying, but that has nothing to do with inflation. Do they not have, that's going to make everything worse. Do they not have a plan? But no. Pause. You have to take a couple things away from that, because actually she did a great job. She did a great job of showing exactly what they are. One, the problems aren't getting better because not only do they not have a plan to fix the problems, They don't have any intention of fixing the problems. They like these problems. The destruction is intentional. These people have been trying to bring America to its knees for decades. They're not going to pass up the opportunity to do so. And two, remember, there are people, many of them in this society. That brain dead idiot is one great example of them. There are people who don't want to think. You're sitting here watching I'm Right on the First TV. So this is going to be confusing to you. Thinkers don't understand people who don't want to be thinkers. These people don't want to think. That woman looks like an idiot because that woman is actually just a robot. These communists are robots. She went up to the hive mind and pulled out her USB cord and plugged it in, and she got her software upload with the newest talking points, and then she left. That woman, you could pin her down for an hour and ask her questions about inflation. Every answer would sound the same. It's outside of her programming. She doesn't know how to talk about that.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, Che Guevara, the latest episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.